Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to anfieldindexpro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the latest transfer podcast. I'm Trev. Downey. I'm joined, of course, by Dave Davis to go through the latest, what is happening and not happening at the various clubs in relation to transfers. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, it's kind of exciting and making you feel a bit sick in your mouth at the same time, Liverpool, isn't it, at the moment? So, yeah, well, we're eagerly poised and hopeful, but I think hopeful rather than expectant is the way it's going at the moment.
No choice but to be that way. And it's weird, start of the summer we were preaching calm and, we were told nothing would happen till August. That was flagged. And now I'm hanging on to threads to do with the Olympics, to be honest. It's getting to that time, Dave, where, stuff really should have been done. In an ideal world, it would be done. And I'm not having anyone tell me anything different. That's just a fact. You want to have the players you want to have as quickly as possible, as early as possible in the window. Anything else is shit talk. If we had said August is the line in the sand, then you want them in on the 1st of August or the 2nd of August or the 5th of August or wherever the hell it is. The fact that we are now lurching towards the 22nd tomorrow and the fast approaching closure of the window, that's not where we want to be, man. We have to be honest about that.
Yeah, I mean, 30th of August, 11 o'clock, it slams shut, doesn't it? There really is, we're in 9 days to go. And I get people have said, Richard Hughes, let's quote him and be like, well, he said it'd be quiet July, build up in August and then a crescendo at the end. He did say that, but he didn't say, lads, we're going to leave it till literally the last minute, yellow ties on Sky Sports, everything like that, did he? And he didn't say, listen, we're going to be looking at doing a load of sales, raking in quite good money, which we'll come on to as well. But, yeah, we said we'd judge at the end of the window. It ain't far away, is it, Trev? Let's be honest.
That's it, man. Unless it is one of those things where it's, as you say, yellow ties and yellow dresses, and Vinny, what's his face, standing outside Anfield, frantically reporting on lads getting done at the last minute. And that is, let's be honest, more of a pipe dream, really, than anything you could possibly imagine. To think that we would be doing last minute transfer business with this crew, I don't think is realistic. So anyway, let's talk about what we can talk about. And, I'm going to start with a quick reference to a tweet I saw here. Someone doing the sums on what it looks like we've done with outgoings here. There's a reference to how Vandenberg came in for 1.5 mil. Looks like he'll be on the move for 25. Carvalho came in for 5. Looks like we got a 27.5 mil deal there. Clark came in through the academy, it says here. I'm not sure exactly if that's right. Sold for 10. Again, is he? Well, that's on the cusp. And then the Mamardashvili signing is mentioned as great bargain as well, in theory. And we can all do the chats about that. We'll get to it when we come to them individually. But that's the framing of our Liverpool section today. Is it's all going to be about outgoings. And I just want to ask you right up top again to get, because I think people can be a little bit disingenuous, especially when they're taking clips and quotes that go up on Twitter from us on this show and sort of, aggressively misunderstand or misrepresent what we're saying. And so I just always want to have the context within the show. I am going to say to you that means nothing to me. The joy of good accounting, the joy of being a well-run club. I actually got told yesterday on Twitter that I was some sort of a clown FSG apologist for saying that the club was well-run in the middle of a tweet which was saying that I was very frustrated that we hadn't signed people. So idiots will be idiots. Yeah. But for the sensible people out there, I want them to have the context before our conversation. How does that strike you? When you see stuff like that, do you get a little buzz of delight about how we are turning a profit? Or are you leaning more towards the section that I'm in, which is, that's great, but can we use that now and get the lads in because they're the people who will play for Liverpool Football Club?
Yeah, I think same line as you. The key thing is, Richard Hughes is a sporting director of Liverpool Football Club. He is not like a salesman for DFS where everything must go or Sofa Shop or anything like that. It's good in the sense of it seems like you can negotiate a good exit, and you've seen, like you said, the added value he's getting on players sort of above what was probably expected at one point as well, or the ability to pry more cash out of clubs. I get that. I don't think that's a bad thing. But it means shit if he can't do the same on the other side, Trev, doesn't it? Realistically, like, you need someone who's great both ways. And the whole point about the negotiating element, about him doing that well, is if we want to get back to sort of where we absolutely want to be, the deals have to be right, don't they? They have to be done well because of the way we're run. And I know not everyone wants to harp back to sort of times of yore and everything, but under Edwards and Klopp, it was the sequence of good deals under an amazing coach. That was the combination. You've seen promise for Arne Slot as well, so you're thinking, there's a lot we liked on that opening day. Give him the tools. And you thought, everything that people have been harking on about, the backroom stuff's in, the nerds, the Edwards, the organisation. I hope as I'm saying this, we're talking when we do the next one at the end of the window, we're like, why are we even fretting, Trev? What a window that's ended up being.
I love that. I would love that.
It'd be brilliant. But your hopefulness is waning. I think we've got to be honest about that, because it does seem to be 9 days in the window very late. And I think we always talked about outcome. We were pretty similar when you stacked your list at the start of the window. You went, right, to-do list. Yes, players going out. There's always going to be players out. Everyone knows that. That's nothing new. The to-do list was, get me a DM, get me a left-sided defender. I'll probably take maybe, a left-back, left centre-back hybrid. I'll give you a bit of room on that. And then we'll see what happens with the forwards. But, DM was top for everyone. Then the defense. It was a pretty consistent list. Oh, and by the way, our 3 superstars are about to go into a year, so renew them at the same time. That was our list. Now, I've seen it, and people defending this now, because people that I, mates that go to the match with and chat, who almost have gone from, yeah, that's right at the start of the season. And now, well, we can do the renewals after the season started and after the transfer window's closed. And it's like, that is true. That's not a false statement. But you have confidence in them to do that, because you know there'll be confidence to get these incomings done. And at the same time, it's going to make it very hard now because they're all inside a year. All the chips are on their side of the table as well. Like, they can demand, quite rightly, because we adore these players, they're unbelievable. They can demand top whack, and then you're hearing all this, as we know, Edwards will only do so much for a player over there. You know, all these types of things. If you think of what you wanted at the start of this summer, Trev, we are currently batting 0 for 6. Okay? That is just a fact. It can still happen, people. And as we're saying, it's judging on the end of the window. We want to almost look a bit foolish on this. I'm happy to. But we're batting 0 for 6, Trev, as we stand right this minute.
That's it. And it's for the benefit of the toxic positivity people that I wanted this in, because after a wonderful win at the weekend, I found myself getting furious at the reaction to a tweet at halftime where I said, well, kind of looks like we need a defensive midfielder. Kind of looks like we need a good left-sided defender. And these are the things that are priorities. And the minute the performance turned around in the second half, it was, we're fine. Like, what do you know, kind of pleb. You just support the team, just support the lads. I seriously fuck off with that. Anyway, let's talk about some of these deals and get into it. The Joe Gomez one is probably the biggest news. I know we have a signing, which is probably bigger news, but the fact that it's a delayed signing means you can't even enjoy it in the immediate. So the Joe Gomez thing is big because Joe Gomez has a very set place in most people's hearts, part of a title-winning duo. Very, very impressive last season, filling in all over the shop for us. Kind of lad you would like to think you'd have around your club. But we were talking, you and I, at the start of this summer about how we had been here when you had been hearing. I only hear it through you and your sources, that he wasn't opposed to a move probably to the south. Now, there are stories about where he might go. He was not part of the squad for Ipswich. That didn't look right. And you've mentioned there a Sam Maguire exclusive. You've mentioned Paul Joyce. It's all quite quiet. It looks like I'd like to think it's going to be done with dignity for a player who has done so much for the club. And he's not the only centre-half who's out the door. And this is on the back, remember, of Joel Matip no longer being part of the squad this year too. So tell us what the deal is with Joe Gomez.
Yeah, it was. He wasn't in the squad, was he, as you said, for Ipswich? And then pretty much simultaneously, wasn't it? That happened. Then Paul Joyce's article came out saying, Joe Gomez looking at his options, seeing what's available. And name checked a load of clubs, didn't he? Like, you can go Newcastle, Palace, loads and loads of clubs. He even mentioned Bayern Munich, although that's now subsequently been ruled out. I think, to be fair, Sam Maguire did have the exclusive, as we mentioned earlier in the window, that when, obviously, the whole regime changed, all the players were asked, like, who's on the bus, who's off it type of thing. And Joe Gomez, he's a brilliant character, as you said, brilliant lad, not the type to rock the boat at all, but was like, been here for a while, looking to move down south, probably not going to be a starter. If we can do it with dignity, let's do it. And I think the club were on board on that, the way it's going. And that's mirrored in all the articles and reports, isn't it, Trev? He's not forcing it out. The club are trying to work with him. They're happy for him to stay, but if he wants it, all those types of things, no issue at all. The thing will be for Joe Gomez, it's for all the clubs that are mentioned.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You just wonder, because others are making moves. I mean, Palace were mooted, if Mark Gay comes, but that might not happen. Then Anderson might be going. There's other players been linked. So all the ones you could go through, Fulham were then mentioned, but they're signed Anderson himself, aren't they? So all the ones that are kind of there, put it this way, the ones mentioned, that list is being filtered really rapidly, isn't it? So you are wondering, like, where is Joe Gomez going to go in this one? And I mean, it's always going to be there because of the Anthony Gordon story, isn't it? Whatever, if Newcastle don't get Gabe, but again, Newcastle are even linked with alternative centre-halves now, which we'll come on to later as well. So there is just a question mark around what's going to happen with Joe Gomez. And if he goes, when is it going to happen? Because time's running out, replacement, all these types of things. So, yeah, I hope it works out for him because he's better than being the fourth choice centre-half, the third choice left-back, the third choice right-back. As a player, he is better than that. And he starts for 75% of Premier League teams. Let's be clear on that. You know, he's a good lad. He's a good player at the same time as well. So we'll see what brews there. And then they finally released one of the ones they've kept chained in the basement because apparently Nat Phillips is unfortunately still there. But Reece Williams has got a loan. Now, he's got a loan move apparently to Morecambe to January. God bless the lad. I'm not sure they've just not sent him on a beach holiday for 6 months, in all honesty, to Morecambe. But if he gets, good luck to him and everything, it's one prisoner out the basement. Let's see if anything happens with the second at all, eh?
Nat is just doomed. He is just doomed. It's remarkable. And here's the thing about the Nat thing, and we'll kind of use this to segue into our next story as such. Nat Phillips is actually potentially, if he hangs around, going to possibly even get a game or two, which might be enough for them to consider keeping around. The reason I say that is because our next story, we're looking at other people who are on the way out. And Sepp Vandenberg has been talking his way out of the club and complaining about his valuation and all the rest of it. But it looks very much as if that's on the cusp of being a deal that gets done, a move away for him. Now I'll go back to what I said earlier on. If we sell Gomez on the back of having lost Joel Matip, and now we're looking at Sepp Vandenberg going as well, and Reece Williams for whatever he was in terms of squad relevance, you're looking at a situation now where there could be a sort of I suppose we best keep Nat around type situation, even if we got someone in. And if we do sell Vandenberg and Gomez, Dave, how do you go into the season without replacing at least one of those?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. There's a part of me is almost, I'm in that change curve, if you know what I mean. I just don't want to believe that could be the case. The problem is, we can't fully dismiss that. Not that we expect it. And we're all sat here thinking, Trev, well, if you're going to get rid of Gomez, or let him go, maybe that's the right phrase, and you're going to ship out Sepp, surely there's got to be a replacement. Surely. And, we're still hopeful of that. You'd still believe, because if there's not, and it sounds horrible to him, but it's true. If there's any situation next season where Nat Phillips is A, a viable alternative, or B, even needed as a potential alternative, that's poor across the board. There's no other way of describing that. So I'm kind of hoping by the time we're talking next week, these are some things there, because otherwise, it's so poor.
By the time we're talking next week, just if we go, say, for the record, say we go exactly a week's time, that's the 28th of August, which leaves us something like 48 hours to do some business if nothing's been done by then. And we said this every week, especially since August has come around. Well, hopefully in the next show we'll have some news for you, blah, blah, blah. What we have, though, is some more news about where fellas will probably end up. Bobby Clark, Sepp Vandenberg, and also Tyler Morton. Talk to us about each of those guys, please.
Yeah, Bobby Clark, it may even come tonight or by the time this pod's out, because he had his medical in Salzburg on Tuesday, so we'll provide everything's all right with that. We're just expecting confirmation of it whenever time that comes, so that'll be, some cash in the bank there. Sepp Vandenberg, this is one where, from a sales point of view, it probably makes Richard Hughes look good, because if you think at one point they were rejecting bids that were up to 10 million with add-ons, And now it's between Brentford and Bayer Leverkusen for his signature. So Brentford looks like they're going to miss out. Who was their first choice target was Dara O'Shea at Burnley. Pivoted now to Sepp van der Berg in with Leverkusen. And whether it sounds like it's going to be out as like 20 plus 5 million, but all in 25 million. I mean, that does sound, to be fair, like good business, doesn't it, realistically, and Ray? So that could be a positive there. Again, provided someone comes in with that caveat. And then, yeah, the interesting one is, I mean, Tyler Morton, not in the squad. There's no real future for him there, isn't he? Like, doesn't make him a bad player. Wolves have got interest in him, Trev. From that info we got this week, that Wolves are very much looking at Tyler Morton as a possibility. They are expecting João Gomez to depart, possibly. Again, that was part of the info we've got as well. So Tyler Morton is being looked at seriously as the replacement. If that happens, you'd think that would be a good move for him as well, realistically. We'll have to see if that develops. Again, this is where you're kind of hopeful, and mainly because I like the player as well. We know we've looked at Aïnouri at times, don't we? And Wolves came out, all the stories, they've only got about 20 million to spend because of their financial issues that way as well. So this could be 2 and 2 and getting 27, isn't it? But you're thinking, well, maybe Tyler Morton plus like 15 million or something like that to get Aïnouri isn't the worst thing. And I know I like the player. I think he's a good player. I think he'd be very good for a left back for us. I know people will be saying we want a left centre back. I get that, and a hybrid, a preference. I totally get that. That would be my preference.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
We're just getting so late in the window to start talking about our absolute preferences. And I know it was going to be, this is defeatist. It's not. We'd always say judge at the end, but you have to judge in the context of where you are now. And right now, selling and buying is within 9 days of the window finishing. That is the context.
Yeah, and as you say quite rightly, it's all very well, like I did talk about, and as I was quoting that tweet, talking about the wonderful business that's being done by, the club in general in terms of the selling side of things. But those deals still need to get signed. We're waiting on the Bobby Clark news. We're waiting on the Van der Berg news. Let's just see what happens. Tyler Morton, again, no confirmation either. So these are all, theoretical, as is the Joe Gomez situation.
Yeah.
But, we're just talking about the reality of lurching into a season where we're back in the Champions League with Virgil, Ibu and Kwanzaa, and then your next go-to is Prisoner Phillips, That's weird. That's a weird potential reality if we don't bring someone in and if all those potential sales go through. We are linked, however, with some centre halves. We'll finish with the Mamardashvili news because at least that is a signing and there's a few little quirks to it. But we are being linked with centre halves, not just Mark Guéhi, as mentioned earlier on by yourself, but also this Branthwaite kid, which I think would, certainly upsell quite a few people. Talk to us about these links and whether there's anything to them.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Like across Stanley Park, you're like, seriously, we're never going to sign an Everton player. And that's what people obviously, are saying when he speaks to them. We're never going to, so don't be silly, Liverpool aren't going to sign an Everton player, etc., etc. But then it's like, well, don't forget Nicky Barmby, don't forget Abu Jabier and all this. And then don't forget Everton's absolute mess of a financial situation. And I mean absolute mess, Trev. Like, the Reeking Group, the Roma owner did not take, he couldn't buy the club when he looked at the books and saw all the debts and the issues to 777, said, no, we cannot take that forward. I mean, currently, they have exclusivity with a guy that can't buy the club. Put that in context. Like, you're selling to a guy that actually right now can't buy. I mean, there's even talk now that they'll delay that till January so he can sell his Crystal Palace stake and take it. Like, just an absolute shit show. It really is. Like, they're in so much trouble financially. And then all of a sudden, Trev, this was like Sunday night, wasn't it? It just sort of stood like a few Branswaite rumours like that way, and the odds. People were people were quoting odds, thinking, what's going on? All of a sudden, I mean, Sky Bet had him like 6 to 5 at one point. Bet365 went 4 to 5 on, and now, knowing how the industry works, it's because of the volume and bets and all that. But you are starting to think, well, where are people getting something, these bits from? So I did some digging around, asked a few people. Yeah, there's two elements to this, as in, people didn't just, as we dig around, normally people go, what are you talking about? Like, that's no, it's been dismissed. It's not. No one dismissed it, Trev, which is weird. But everyone was like, yeah, but come on. I was like, so, okay, but come on. So is it just false then? Well, we're not saying that. Like, what are you saying exactly type of thing dancing around? So basically, after sort of doing some shawty-waddy style dancing with different people, expectation, 0, I think, on this. Bar, like something miracle. But, sound the big, strangest person in the world. Expectation 0. Don't dismiss it until it's absolutely dismissed, either at the same time as well. And yeah, suggestions that it had maybe been talked about between parties, but actually talking about something and then executing the move of the star Everton talent to Liverpool in the current climate is something different. However, until the window closes, yeah, just keep half an eye on this one, Trev, is maybe one thing to say.
There had to be something, a kernel of something that got the ball rolling, that got people thinking, I'll risk some of my hard-earned here on this long shot, which turned out to be not such a long shot by the time the odds were in. So there has to have been something, like you say, maybe an informal conversation somebody got wind of. Maybe one of the more reliable journals said something that they shouldn't have said. Who knows? I don't know, but it's an interesting one. Let's finish then with some positive news in terms of players in, even if it is a delayed setup. I've heard that many convoluted versions of what's going to happen. My basic take, as far as I understand, is that we've signed this Mamardashvili guy for about 30 million odd, and that he, from all reports, looks to be a tremendous prospect. But that he's on loan, he's straight back out on loan to not to a Premier League club, which was mooted initially. Was it Bournemouth, I think? But actually staying where he is at Valencia. To me, that makes perfect sense. I just thought the shoehorning of the Bournemouth thing, it just seemed, why would you disrupt a player for a year and have him get used a whole lot of new players, just let him prove where he's doing well? I never got that. And it would have been a horrible, horrible narrative with the Richard Hughes thing. But there's obviously much more to it that I don't know, and it's taken that many twists and turns. What are the details of the deal, Dave?
Well, the unfortunate details of the deal is no pen is on paper just yet, Trev. So it's nothing like absolutely done. This is, I mean, in a way, if this goes through, it's very smart business for me. I know people are going to be screaming like we can't use him straight away if this goes through and all that. I get it. But it's succession planning, as we talked about, and it's Alisson's, we've talked about before in the show, Alisson's succession planning. So I like that element. Here's what I really don't like digging. Since we sort of had that approach and it really came out, all the suggestions we've had, Trev, is that they have been haggling for days and days and days over about 5 million quid. Now, I know in real world that's massive and everything. I'm not pretending that for any second, but in football terms, it's the one thing I don't get as well from obviously asking around at getting this is they really view this guy as special. A brilliant shot stopper, huge frame, like a real talent. They actually, as we said last week, when they look at his profile, they say he profiles a lot like Alisson at Roma the year before we got him, as in that one where, we look at a certain amount of sample size, they go supernova, and that's what we're looking for. The nerds, the analysts, and all that type of stuff, which is great. So then leads me to, we spent about 63 million on Alisson, give or take, with add-ons and all the bits. 63 million. If this kid really is what we think he is, it's a long time to be like fraying over like 29 to 34 million. Do you know what I mean? And even you've seen reports coming out of Spain today that we've raised the offer. We are practically there. There's even talk that we'll let him stay, as you say, at Valencia, so there won't be a loan fee. The one thing that just kind of, I don't like, we want to get it done, but we spent so long on this deal that's not even for now. And it's just sort of dragged and dragged and dragged. And listen, I'm hoping when this comes out, people listening to this, it's done and it's confirmed and everything like that. But we're going to be in the 7th day soon of this since it really broke. That's a long time where the debate seems to be between like 5 million. And I get we're like careful of the pennies, and I know it's never this simple, Trev. You just think like, just meet him in the middle, just give an extra 2.5, just get this done. Because, by the way, there's 9 days of the window left, and we actually need some players for now. So it's almost a weird one, isn't it? It should be really heralded, and it is a good sign, and I like the idea of it. But when it hopefully does complete, you'll be thinking, thank God for that. Why did this take so freaking long?
Well, I'm entirely depressed now, man, because I'm in my innocence, I thought it was done. And I was going, well, I wouldn't finish with that because at least it's a done deal, but there's no signature yet, and they're haggling. Fucking hell. I don't know. What even is this window so far? It's so difficult to maintain a sort of a rational head, much as you'd like to. But I never pretend to be that guy. And what I like about you is you don't either, in that you're just quite happy to say, well, I can see the sense here, but here's what I feel. And I think that's honest. That's what a fan is. And, this sort of trust, the process thing, fuck off. Why would you do that? The process has fucked up the last 2 summers.
Yeah, it's like we're now hearing all the reports, aren't we, Trev, about, David Ornstein comes on CBS News, and this is not doubt him as a journo and his info. He obviously is a prime journo for info and stories. I'm not saying that. But he does a segment, doesn't he, where he talks about like, I'm hearing great things about Richard Hughes behind the scenes. Like, I wonder who's told him that, Trev, by any means. Who would want Richard Hughes' reputation to be burgeoned? I'll let people listen. I'm sure you can work that out yourself. But again, you can't fully judge because there's still 9 days of the window left. But these are the big numbers. 9 days of the window left. From what everyone wanted at the start of the window, we are currently batting 0 for 6. Okay? It's a big ask to suggest we go 6 for 6 in 9 days' time. Not impossible, but based on what you've seen, it doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom. But I think even the most optimistic will struggle to believe we get everything done we want right now.
I mean, that's just common sense. But look, no one will be happier than the two of us to be saying, "Wow, we were really doubting these guys, but look what they've done." That would be the best thing ever, and hopefully it's a possibility, or at least a version of it, where we're quite thrilled with what's been done at the very death. Now the contrast between Liverpool and other clubs, because that's one of the other big numbers there in that numbers crunching bit you were doing is, by dint of the fact that we're 0 for 6. The naught is the thing. And the naught is the thing that contrast, I think, with every other club in the Premier League who has done business of some sort. Some of them tremendous amounts of business, some of them tremendous business, and then there's Chelsea.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to start, because they're always the polar opposite since the Bowley era began, and always have been anyway, when they had Abramovich's money too, in terms of turnover and sort of stockpiling players and that type of thing. But this is the best crack ever. I mean, there are quotes coming out left, right and centre. We've got this fantastic Raheem Sterling sideshow going on as well. We've got the manager coming out saying weird things. But look, let's start with the deals that are getting done first, and then we'll move, if you don't mind, to the Sterling situation, or whatever you know about that. And we'll finish off then after you talk about other deals, because Bryce knows you're going to need a few sips of your Dr. Pepper there. We'll finish with the Maresca chat, but let's get through the business first. Gallagher, again there perhaps, is still not away.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at anfieldindexpro.com. For about the price of one cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, anfieldindexpro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.